So what is inheritance? Just reuse the properties of class. To reuse the properties of class in Java, I'm going to have inheritance. I want to override the superclass method that can be done by using overriding method. If it is inheritance, then I want to make use of the keyword called extends. Hello to all, a warm welcome to my new session on classes, object and methods. I am Revati from the Department of Computer Science, Vidhyaashram, first grade college, Temple of Excellence, Mysuru. So dear student, before going to start my today's session, let me to recall the things what I have covered in my last session. So in my last session, I started with method overloading. That is, what is method overloading and what is the need of method overloading. Along with that, I have covered different ways to overload the methods, that is by using different number of arguments as well as different data types. Along with that, I covered what is inheritance and the terms used in the inheritance. Along with that, how to write and how to use the inheritance in Java program. Along with that, I covered the different types of inheritance supported by the Java, and these are the topic I covered in my last session. But dear student, please make a note here. From the examination point of view, this is very important topic, as well as inheritance is also very important concept. So dear student, you can able to expect 2 marks as well as 7 mark question under these two topic. Now let me to start with today's session. That is, at the beginning I'm going to have single inheritance and example. Along with that, I'm going to have overriding methods, as well as I'm going to have usage of Java methods, that is how to overriding, and rules for method overriding. So these are the concept I'm going to deal in my today's class. And dear student, please make a note here. This is also very important question from the examination point of view, and this is also very important topic from the examination point of view. Now let's see what is single inheritance. So what is inheritance? Suppose if I want to use existing thing in my Java program, then I'm going to have inheritance. So what is inheritance? Just reuse the properties of class. To reuse the properties of class in Java, I'm going to have inheritance. So when a class inherits another class, then it is known as single class. Now, let me to explain what is inheritance first. So here, what is inheritance? Use the properties of one class to another class. That means one class can able to acquire the properties of another class is called inheritance. Now, if I consider inheritance, I'm going to have single inheritance, multi-level inheritance, multiple inheritance, hybrid inheritance, and so on. But here I'm going to consider only single inheritance. So what is single inheritance? I'm going to have only one superclass. From that, I'm going to acquire the property. So here it is my subclass. That is nothing but my main class is superclass and the next class is subclass. class, or I can able to consider this one as parent class, and my subclass is nothing but child class. That means the child class can able to acquire all the properties of parent class. Now let me to consider the example here that the dog class inheritance animal class. That means at the beginning I'm going to have the class called animal. From that, the dog class can able to access the property or make use of the properties of animal class. Now, let me to consider how to write single inheritance. As I told, I'm going to have only one parent class. From the parent class, I'm going to acquire all the property. So here, my parent class is termed as superclass and my child class is termed as subclass. And to implement inheritance in Java program, I'm going to use the keyword extends. I'm going to use the keyword extends. This is the syntax for inheritance. So dear student, you're going to get the question like what is single inheritance and write the syntax. Now, so dear student, let me to consider simple example here, and this is the example for inheritance. And what is my class name? That is calculation, and I'm going to inherit all the properties in my calculation class. That means here I want to make use of all the methods as well as variables which is present in this class. So here I'm going to have calculation, and I'm going to have my calculation. So here this calculation is nothing but my superclass and my calculation is nothing but my subclass. That means this child class can able to acquire all the properties of superclass. So what is all the properties? That is nothing but all the variables as well as all the methods which is present in my superclass. Now see here, I'm going to use extends keyword because it is inheritance, and to implement inheritance I'm going to use the keyword extends. So I'm going to make use of all the properties which is present in my superclass. So here I have used addition as well as subtraction. That means here I'm going to use two methods, that is addition. It's mainly used to perform addition operation, as well as I'm going to have subtraction method, and it is mainly used to perform subtraction operation. And I can able to make use of Z in calculation class as well as my calculation. Now see here, I'm going to perform addition operation and at the same time I'm going to display the output. Here I'm going to perform subtraction operation and I'm going to display the output. And I'm going to make this method public with the help of public keyword, and it does not returns any value because the data type here is void. Now in my main program, once again I'm going to write the method, that is multiplication. So what is the need of multiplication here? It's mainly used to multiply two variables. Now see here, I'm going to make use of existing property of my superclass. So that is Z. Now I'm going to display the output. And see here, I'm going to declare A equal to 20 and B equal to 10. And I'm going to create a object. So here, what kind of object? It is of type my calculation, and I'm going to call the methods which is present in my superclass as well as subclass with the help of demo. So here I'm going to acquire all the properties of subclass. For that reason, I'm going to call the method which is present in superclass with the help of subclass object. This is the way I can able to use inheritance concept in Java program. Now see here, I'm going to call addition and I'm going to pass A comma B. That means I'm going to pass 20 and 10 to addition method as well as 20 comma 10 to subtraction method, and I'm going to pass 20 comma 10 to multiplication method. This is the way I can able to use inheritance. Now I'm going to have overriding methods. That means if I consider inheritance concept, I can able to use same methods in my both the class, that is in my superclass as well as in my subclass. Now I want to override the superclass method. That can be done by using overriding method. Now if subclass, so here subclass is nothing but the child class has the same method as declared in the parent class. That means if both the class will have same methods, then it is called method overriding. In other words, if a subclass provides the specific implementation of the method that has been declared by one of its parent class. So here, if I consider superclass as well as the subclass, I'm going to have same kind of methods. For example, in my superclass, I'm having display function, and in my subclass, I'm having once again display function. And this kind of methods are called method overloading. Now, what is the use of method overloading in Java? That is why I required method overloading. So, method overloading is used to provide this specific implementation. So, here method overloading is used to provide specific kind of implementation of a method which is already provided by the superclass. For example, if I consider superclass, in my superclass, I'm going to have the display function. And if I consider my subclass, same thing I'm going to have. So, to implement same kind of method implementation, I'm going to have method overloading. And method overloading is used to provide runtime binding or runtime polymorphism. So, runtime binding means what? Runtime linkage of files. So, here method overloading is mainly used for runtime binding or runtime linking. Now, what are the rules I need to follow while defining overriding? So, the method must have same name as parent class. That means in both the class, the method name must be same, and the method must have same parameters, and there must be a is a relationship. That means there must be a inheritance. That means I'm going to use the properties of my parent class. So what are the rules? The method name must be same and the parameter list as well as the return type must be same. Then there must be a relationship. So dear student, let me to consider one simple program here. That is, this is my parent class. So this parent class is also called super class. And this is my sub class or child class. From the subclass, I'm going to use all the properties of my superclass. That means whatever the methods or variables which is present in my superclass, I'm going to make use that in my subclass. So what is my function name? That is run. And where I define run, it is inside move load. Okay, that is inside method overload. So here it is method overload. So inside that I'm going to have the run function. So what is method overload? The method which is present in superclass as well as subclass must have same method name as well as same parameter list as well as same return type. Now see here, I'm going to have run method and here also I'm going to have run method. Now both the class have run method. This is the example for method overriding. So here I'm going to display the output, that is superclass. That means I am inside the superclass and here I'm going to use inheritance concept. That means I can able to use method overloading only in inheritance. So if it is inheritance, then I want to make use of the keyword called extends. Now I'm going to, so this is my subclass and I'm going to use all the properties of superclass to subclass. Once again, in my subclass, I'm going to call run function and I'm going to display the message that is inside sub function and public static main. So this is my main program and the actual execution of the program starts from main program. Now I'm going to create the object. So dear student, please listen here that for the subclass or for the child class, I'm going to create the object. Okay, and with the help of this object, I'm going to call the run method. Now tell me, what is the output for this program? Is it subclass or is it superclass? So here the output is inside the subclass. That is, output is subclass. That means I'm going to override the method which is present in parent class. So here both the methods are having same name, same return type, same kind of argument. But I want to override. In that situation, I'm going to use method overriding. Overriding means what? It is overwriting. In one function, above that I'm going to write another function and it is called method overriding. Now, in my today's session, I started with what is inheritance, what is the need of inheritance, and I have written simple program to illustrate what is single inheritance. Along with that, I discussed what is method overriding and what is the need of method overriding, what are the rules I need to follow while overriding a method, and I explained one simple program for how to override a method. So these are the important topic from the examination point of view. Now in my next session, I'm going to deal with what is abstract method, what is the need of abstract method, what is abstract class. Along with that, I'm going to deal with vectors. So dear student, in my today's session, you got more information about class, object as well as methods. Let's meet in the next session with more information about class, object as well as method. Until then, keep watching and keep learning. Thank you.